Ni hao, wu jiao Kamui. And wow, there are 7 generations of Pokemon now, and I've played all of them. So I want to do a countdown from my least favorite, which would be entry number 7, to my favorite generation, which would be entry number 1. Wow, the video just started and people already want to kill me. Yeah, it's Generation 1. I'm so sorry. I just don't like Generation 1. Believe me, I know it's started Pokemon and whatever, but to be honest, there's so much problems with it, like how psychic types are literally invincible to everything. They have no weakness. Also missing no, well, I did like missing though. Even though it was technically a glitch, it's still cool. But also Glitch City, do you see this? But yeah, I guess I'm hating on Gen 1 too much because Gen 1ers, but honestly, Gen 1 wasn't all that good. They also had no split with special stats. It was just called special. There was no special attack and special defense. It was just special. Although with Fire Red and Leaf Green, I have to give Pokemon Red and Blue a lot more credit now because now that they refined it a lot more, it is a lot more enjoyable, but I feel like it's still a bit dated story-wise. To be honest, I know this isn't the game's fault, but the media overhyping Team Rocket, now the whole stealing Pokemon thing is just so bland and generic. As for the anime,
Jelly-filled.
yeah, 4Kids completely ruined that too. But then again, 4Kids ruins everything. Well, this entire thing can't turn into just a hate about Pokemon Red and Blue, because there are many positive things about it. I mean, it did lay the foundation for Pokemon in general. This is where Pokemon started. Again, I'm sorry! Yeah, it's Generation 2. But don't worry, this isn't an all-out rant like it was with Generation 1. I did like a lot of things about Generation 2, like the introduction of Steel-type and Dark-type, and Dark-type is one of my personal favorite Pokemon types. Also the introduction of the night and day cycle. Also how you were able to travel back to Kanto and fight your old self. All of these additions were great, especially with supporting a great soundtrack, some pretty good culture, and also main legendaries. Glitches were fixed, and many things were just improved in general. There were many great new Pokemon that were added. So why is this so low? I don't know, I guess it's just not that nostalgic to me. I never really got into Pokemon Stadium. Also, the anime was still... Yeah, you get what I'm getting at, but 4Kids is just still awful. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about Generation 2. It was a generation, it happened, and that's really all I have to say. So now, for the generation that we're at right now, we're at the bottom of my top, I guess, 5 generations I really care about. And that generation is Generation 3. So as you can tell right now, I'm more talking about, well, the games themselves, more like the actual generation themselves, because I just want to talk about Shelly and Courtney. They are great characters. Same with Maxie and Archie. It's no more gonna steal the Pokemon. It's now gonna flood the world or gonna dry up the world. Seriously, their motives were serious, and they have the moment of Fire Emblem Fates revelation when they figure out that, oh, yeah, maybe we took it out of proportion. By the way, I have over 505 hours on Fire Emblem Fates in a total. Send help! But these characters do take it out of proportion, and that's shown in the Pokemon Generations anime, which, by the way, is really good, and I will be getting back to it later in the countdown, definitely. You'll see later. Just the only problem with it is some of these English voices don't fit that well. Can anyone find the original Japanese dub for it? I've been looking for it, I can't find it. I mean, yeah, Courtney's English voice is fine and actually pretty fitting, but Shelly's English voice.
The only thing that's waiting for us is nothing but inescapable despair!
Let's talk about the game again. First off, I want to say, I don't think that there was too much water. Honestly, I liked the amount of water that there was. Secondly, let's talk about the new Pokemon that were introduced in the game, because I love so much of them. Breloom, Sceptile, Claydol. These Pokemon were really, really good, and honestly, a lot of them are really creative. Also, Milotic and Sharpedo. I loved those two, and I still love them now. Honestly, this generation was just creative in general. You actually had a dad in this game. A lot of the gym leaders were great too, and characters also. Like, there was Wallace and Steven. They were great. Also, a quick shout out to Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Zinnia was great, and also, I will be getting into Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, not with Gen 6 because I'm more just talking about X and Y, but I will eventually, you will see. I am holding stuff till later in the video, you will see. Finally, it stopped going in order. You see, this next generation is not Generation 4, it's Generation 6. So really quickly, let me just get the bads out of the way first. We didn't need 5 rivals, and none of these rivals have any personality, like they're all bland. Also, Lysander, he didn't have enough build up. Now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about all of the positives. The 3D graphics with this fit Pokemon so well. The competitive scene was at an all-time high. This generation was actually what got me into the competitive scene, because in Generation 5 I was still really confused about all the EVs and IVs and stuff like that. Super Training was great and fantastic. I have nothing too much to say about the story and the characters because they kind of felt a bit meh to me, but I still really like them, but I want to get into the anime for Gen 6. The reason why I didn't talk about the anime last entry is because the Gen 3 anime is the only anime I haven't really seen much of. But the Gen 6 anime is so fantastic. Battles are great, Ash is competent, the characters are great, Lysander had a much better build-up. My personal favorite character in the Gen 6 anime was probably either... I really liked Clement and I also really liked Jessie. It's a tie. Now it's time for the top 3, which is, by the way, Gen 4. I love this generation so much. Characters excellent, Pokemon excellent, region excellent. They also created the role of Professor's assistant, and don't worry, that laid the foundation for much, much more to come. I will be getting into that later, don't worry. The rival was, I really loved Barry. He was just, he was great. This was actually the first introduction of Looker, which he's still a character now in the series. Also, Empoleon is one of my favorite Pokemon. I love Empoleon. Pokemon Platinum, whoa. The whole Giratina part was great. Cynthia is an amazing champion, and I love how you're able to go with her. Anime-wise, this generation anime was pretty good. I liked Dawn's character, and I'm glad that Brock returned. And I did like some of the really cool events that happened in the anime. Although, I absolutely loved the Arceus movie for this one. So yeah, only 2 more generations to go, and by process of elimination, you guys already know the 2 that are left, but you don't know what order. And also for the very last one, I am going to be going very in-depth for entry number 1. So many people hate this generation, but at the same time, so many people, including me, absolutely love this generation. That generation is Generation 5. There are so many amazing Pokemon from this generation that I know many people hate, but Archen is probably one of my favorite Pokemon. N was an extremely interesting character, and honestly, I'm really glad he was put in there because he really made the story a lot more interesting. Also, this game laid out the foundation for a more story in Pokemon. I'll be getting to that later. Please don't worry. Alder was also really cool because he was also one of those champions that you got to interact with a lot. I remember when these graphics for Pokemon first came out, I flipped because they were so amazing. I'm like, oh, all the Pokemon move now. Whoa. Then for Black and White too, I flipped because all the trainers moved and I was like, whoa, they used to only do that for special trainers. So anime wise, a lot of people hate on this generation's anime, and I don't know, it isn't terrible like the first 2 animes, but it's not as good as the anime was and is. Like Gen 4 and Gen 6 anime were a lot better. This last entry is not only my favorite Pokemon generation, but one of my favorite games of all time, and that generation is... Yeah, Sun and Moon has only been out for a month, and this game is phenomenal. Seriously, this generation is so amazing. I have almost 200 hours of game time altogether with Sun and Moon right now. Send help again. I've even completed the Alolan Dex. That took forever. By the way, Mallow is Kamakura Kamakura Yas Queen. This game is so amazing. I love all of the Pokemon you can catch in this game. I love so many of the new ones. In fact, this game now houses my new favorite Pokemon. And no, it's not Lycanroc, even though Lycanroc is very high up there. My new favorite Pokemon is now Salazzle. You know how I said I was going to talk about how they laid the foundation for storytelling? Well, this game's story is phenomenal. It's absolutely outstanding. But let's not forget the best part of this entire game, Lily. See, this is what I meant as we'll get back into the position of Professor's assistant. Lily is probably my favorite character in all of Pokemon and one of my favorite characters in all of media. Only rivaling Kanji Tatsumi and Fiora from Xenoblade. Lily, she's a prime example of character development. She starts out as really mysterious, but as you start to go throughout the game with her and start to travel with her, she starts to open up more, and once you learn about her past, once you get onto Pony Island, she goes full on character development, and her character just becomes outstanding. And she even has a speech with her mother, and it's so amazing. But not just Lily, her whole family, Galadian and Lusamine and Mon, I guess, or Mon, what's his name? Mon? But Galadian was a really great rival. I know that Hao is also the rival, but I consider them both rivals. And honestly, Galadian, his character is so great. And also, like, I'm surprised I didn't come to the conclusion that him and Lily were related. Lusamine is hands down my favorite villain in all of Pokemon. She's so amazing. And oh man, when you see that insane side of her, it's freaky. Especially when you go into that room and she has all those frozen Pokemon. She's like, these are my friends. Now, we're going to touch upon Pokemon generations again. So, the Gen 6 Pokemon generations just concluded. So, they're either going to not do Generation 7 or they are going to do it, which I really hope that they do a Gen 7 Pokemon generations. My 3 ideas for each of the 3 episodes. The first episode could star Galadian and Hao bursting through the Aether Foundation, and Faba could be in there too. The second episode could star Lily in the Ultra Space Wormhole time thing, and it could show her confronting her mother and yelling at her. And you could also show the trainer, but of course not their face, because it's a tradition not to show the main character's face. And also maybe Guzma could be there too, because Guzma was a funny character. The third episode could star Looker, Annabelle, and Nanu hunting for Ultra Beasts, but most of the episode could be a flashback showing the scene of how Annabelle came to this universe, which takes me to going back to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Because of the Delta episode, when or if the scientists actually did test out a portal, it caused a portal to rip between the non-Mega Evolution world and the Mega Evolution world. It took Annabelle and Looker out of the non-Mega Evolution world. Because you could tell by the side effects of that is you can't remember anything but your name and a little bit about yourself, which was apparent with Annabelle and Looker. So yeah, there's actually 2 Lookers running around in the same world at once currently. Okay, so now on to the anime. A lot of people hate the art style, but I think it's fine. What I really like about this is the characters. I love a lot of these trial captains, and I'm so happy that they're going to be main characters in this. We're only on episode 8 right now, but I can't wait to see what's more to come. Well, this video was fun. Goodbye and Merry Christmas. I'm sorry it took me a year to make another video.